Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video obviously going to be a wee review, look back at the Celtic 3, Rangers 3 controversial result yesterday at Ibrox. Going to be looking at the controversial decisions, the rights and wrongs of those. A wee look at the key players for Celtic and some of the key incidents, and a general review of the position we are in now. I've called the video 1 point gained rather than 2 points lost, and I think in the greater scheme of things that's probably the best way to treat yesterday's result. I think with the way the refereeing decisions and VAR decisions went against us, I think the result in the end could have actually been worse for us, and obviously the point there keeps us 1 point clear. They do have a game in hand, which will be at the rotten, muddy, wet, rutted pitch at Dens Park on Wednesday. Then both teams have one game going into the into the split. At the moment, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, St Mirren and Kilmarnock are confirmed in the top six. The final position appears to be between Dundee, Hibs and Motherwell, and it does appear that Celtic should have 2 away games and the rest at home from now onwards, while Rangers are expected to have 5 games away from home in their run-in. And so, on the face of it, it does look like Celtic's run-in is that wee bit easier on paper, and of course we do have that critical game against Rangers at Celtic Park post-split. I would love to see that game as being the final game of the season, just for pure excitement. But I suspect that, as usual, they'll make the Celtic-Rangers match probably the second game post-split, live on Sky Sports. But either way, I think the omens are very good for Celtic going from here onwards to win the double. So before we get going with the full video proper, please do, if you enjoy this video and you are new to the channel, do click that subscribe button, push the figures up to 500, which would be brilliant for me. Also, if you do like the video, please do click that like button and do pop your comments in the comment section regarding the game, the decisions and the way forward for Celtic. Please do keep any comments polite, respectful, constructive and informative, and we can have a nice debate amongst football fans, keeping things all polite and respectful and within the laws of Scotland as they now stand. So moving on to the game, some interesting stats from the game. Possession was 54-46 into favour of Rangers. However, Celtic 14 shots at goal with 7 on target. Rangers 12 shots at target with 5 on goal, but with 5 on target. Corners were 3-2 for Rangers. But one of the most amazing stats for me was Celtic gave away 23 fouls, Rangers gave away 10. And for me, one of the main separating factors was the fact that it felt that whenever a Rangers player went down, it was a foul, the least bit contact from Scales, CCV, any of our midfielders, and John Beaton was immediately blowing for a foul. However, quite a number of challenges on Celtic players, knocking them to the ground, obstructing them, blocking them off, and no fouls were given. Yellow cards also, I thought, were spectacularly in favour of Rangers. A couple of times Rangers players came in with late tackles from the back, such as on Hatate and Kyogo. Rangers, John Beaton play on as an advantage, perfectly reasonable, but on both occasions he really should have come back and yellow carded the Rangers defender. Very early in the match, Nicholas Kuhn was given a yellow card for slight obstruction on one of the Rangers' wide players. John Beaton then indicating that was Nicholas Kuhn's third or fourth foul, when in fact that was Nicholas Kuhn's first foul. Celtic had given away a couple of similar obstruction type fouls, blocking off and holding back Rangers players, However, in football, there isn't a totting up system like there is in basketball and rugby, where team fouls can count against you, and after a certain point, the ref calls fouls against the team rather than against the individuals. That's not the case in football, and so Beaton shouldn't really be booking Nicholas Kuhn for repeated fouling when it was Celtic had given away a few fouls in the first 10 minutes or so of a similar type. In a game that's pretty much 50-50 with those other stats of shots on goals and corners and so on, you would really expect the foul count to be pretty much even. However, in this game, it wasn't. There were obviously quite a number of controversial VAR decisions, first of which was the penalty kick given against Connor Goldson, quite rightly. Ball comes across, head flicked by Maeda. Goldston's arms away from his body, unnatural position. He elbows the ball away. Otherwise, it would have gone comfortably to Scales at the back post, who then would have been completely clear to shoot past Butland. Clear penalty kick. How John Beaton misses it, I'm not very sure. He's got a very good view of the 6-yard box. To give him credit, he was in the right place to see the 6-yard box. How he does not see Goldson elbowing the ball away, I don't know, because there was nothing in his view to obstruct it. He doesn't give the penalty. Happily, VAR does intercede. It tells him to go and look at it again, and we get the penalty. Matt O'Reilly very calmly chipping the ball down the middle past Butland to put us 2-0 up in the game. We then had the ridiculous penalty kick given against Alistair Johnston. He very clearly knocks the ball away. He then withdraws his leg. Fabio Silva then makes contact with Johnston's leg, feels the contact, then falls over dramatically to get the penalty. John Beaton about 5 metres away, perfect position to see it. Quite rightly, yellow card, Silva for yet another episode of play acting and simulation, doesn't give the penalty. VAR really should not be getting involved. Ball was nicked away by Johnston. Then in a slight follow through, Silva makes the contact with Johnston's leg rather than vice versa. Johnston was pulling his leg away, not putting it towards Silva. Silva makes contact with Johnston's withdrawing foot, goes over dramatically, should not be a penalty, should not be reviewed by VAR. The referee made the right decision at the time, and that's been backed up by a great majority of the pundits and ex-referees who've commented on it so far. VAR also interceded again when John Beaton, about a metre away, completely misses Lawrence taking out Iwata. How Beaton misses that, I don't know. He couldn't be in a better position. Lawrence clearly takes out Iwata, making contact with his own knee and leg against Iwata's thigh and knee, takes out Iwata. Should have been a foul straight away. Celtic would have been about 25-30 yards from goal. Excellent attacking position. Instead, Beaton waves play on. Ball goes up the other end, bit of a scramble. Dessers scores. Happily, VAR brings the game back and disallows the goal. So, for me, quite a number of refereeing mistakes. One pretty major VAR blunder, getting involved when it should not have got involved. John Beaton, for me, in a very good position to make the decisions regarding those three. Got the decision for the Goldson penalty wrong completely the first time. Happily, VAR corrected it. Contrary-wise, he then gets the decision on the Fabio Silva penalty right, then wrongly overturns himself, and similarly gets the Iwata foul completely wrong. Happily, VAR reversed that and Dessler's goal was disallowed. Moving on to more positive things, Celtic obviously got off to a brilliant start. Dyson Maeda, as I suggested, trying to get in behind Tavernier. Tavernier's got no pace, very poor defender. Maida harries him, then blocks the clearance by Tavernier and shoots it past Butland, who I thought was a bit out of position. We then, as I say, get the penalty kick for Matt O'Reilly to put us 2-0 up. We had also additional chances from Dyson Maida, Rio Hatate on 2 occasions, and a wee bit of a goalmouth scramble, and so could easily have gone in 3 or 4-0 up at half time. Joe Hart does make a very good double save right at the very end of the first half to stop Fabio Silva scoring, and so great credit to Joe Hart for that. Rangers did switch things around a wee bit at half time, bringing on Sima, which I thought was good for them. Celtic carried on being in control in midfield. Hatate, Iwata, and O'Reilly doing a good job. CCV doing a very good job in central defence. I actually quite welcomed taking off Kuhn, who looked quite ineffectual. Had Kuhn been able to get behind the left back as Maida was getting behind and confusing Tavernier, I think Celtic would have definitely got a goal or two more in the first half. I would really wish that Lewis Palm had been fully fit, because I think he would have done a far better job down our right wing than Kuhn did in the end. I was quite happy to see McGregor and Yang coming on. Yang, I thought, had quite a poor match. He really should have done far better blocking off Matondo coming inside for the third goal. He didn't really show the amount of pace and aggression and attack as I was hoping for when he came on. I thought he could actually have, as I said earlier on, exploited the Rangers' right back playing at left back situation, but both Kuhn and Yang didn't really get much progress down that side. Callum McGregor, I thought, looked physically fit, but not quite match fit. I thought he was just that wee bit slow physically and a wee bit slow mentally. And of course, he was at fault for what turned out to be the Rangers' equaliser. They put them back to 2-2. I thought Celtic did kind of lose control of the midfield from about the 60th minute onwards. Things looked a bit frantic in midfield, a bit frantic in defence. I thought the fullbacks both did okay. CCV probably was our best player over the whole game. I thought the 3 midfielders that started all had good games, particularly Hatate and O'Reilly. Kyogo, a wee bit anonymous up front, although we did harry the Rangers back 4 very, very well. Maida played particularly well in the first half, did fade away a wee bit in the second half, but I think that was just because our distribution and our passes out to him got a wee bit disorganised and frantic. I thought Adam Ida played very well when he came on. I think he gave Celtic a different option up front. Thought he managed to overpower Suter and particularly Goldson on several occasions. And he did score a very good third goal for Celtic. So a wee bit disappointing. I thought Liam Scales was quite poor again in defence. He was, however, very unlucky when he deflected Sima's shot, which I think was going towards Hart for a fairly comfortable save. However, Scales got a major deflection on it, taking it well past Hart. And it was rather disappointing late in the game that we didn't consolidate things at 3-2 up going into the final 8 minutes of added time. I really wish we had taken a lesson from the game at Celtic Park, where we should really have consolidated things, but Rodgers made attacking subs. Here I do think we should have put on Ralston at right back and moved Johnston into right side centre back, and or withdrawn Iwata into a defensive role as well. I think a blanket of 5-6 defenders would have worked well. I think that would have stopped Matondo being able to cut in to make his shot. I think it would have stopped Rangers having any space, and it would have stopped players such as Sima and Dessers, who have that wee bit more pace, having any ability to break through the defence. However, Rodgers, as he has done several times this season, failed to consolidate a late lead. And so it was a wee bit disappointing in the end that we did give up 2 points to our big rivals with their goal 3 minutes into added time. However, overall, I am pretty happy with how things have turned out, and I've said it earlier on, I do think everything is in our hands, and I think the omens are good for us holding on to the end of the season and winning the title by winning all our games for the rest of the season. And I think um, now that we have, in essence, our full squad, over the next week or two, McGregor, Hatate, Palmer will all get back to full physical and match fitness. Hopefully, we can keep everybody else fit and healthy on the pitch. And I think we have the strongest squad in Scotland. We have many of the best players in Scotland, and we have multiple players throughout the team who can make a positive contribution, create chances, and score chances. And so I think the future is very bright for Celtic. Future is not so bright, I don't think, for refereeing quality in Scotland. I thought John Beaton had a very poor game. For one reason or another. I think he maybe got a bit flummoxed by the fact that there was so much pressure and scrutiny on him. He had a lot of criticism after the Hearts game. He then had further criticism and reversal of his decisions in one of his games just after that. And as I said earlier on, I think the pundits and the ex-refs and the majority of independent assessors will have said that his performance was very poor. There were a few people who supported his decision to give the penalty. I don't really think that's fair because Johnson clearly does flick the ball away. The contact is then initiated for me by Silva rather than by Johnston. Silva simulates yet again and should not have been a penalty, should have been a yellow card. Carrying on. The thing to remember is the way that VAR and Beaton interpreted it was that although Johnson did kick the ball away, his follow through to catch Silva was reckless and careless. Had that been the case, Johnson should have been yellow carded, and so basically VAR and Beaton fudged the issue, gave the penalty, did not then follow through by the letter of the law, and so in several ways they messed that up completely. Good news is, of course, that Beaton won't be the referee for the game at Celtic Park. We'd expect that, given the referees who've refereed so far in the Celtic Rangers matches in the league. It probably will be Willie Collum who gets that match. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in general terms, my impression of previous Celtic Rangers matches where he's been the ref is that things have been pretty much down the middle. Some mistakes in favour of them, some mistakes in favour of us, but in general terms, pretty much a 50-50 sort of referee. And hopefully we're proven right, or I'm proven right in that theory when we come around to the game in 2 or 3 weeks' time in the split fixtures at Celtic Park. In terms of our best players, I say CCV likely the best. Hatate and the midfield runners up in that matter. Maeda, good in the first half, not so much in the second half. And really for me, players who disappointed were Yang, McGregor and Scales. The others all get pass marks, 6s, 7s, and CCV maybe a good 8, 8.5, and the midfield 3 and 8. One other wee annoying thing is, given the yellow card given to Alison Johnston for getting in the way of Fabio Silva in the first half, was rather confused as to why Tom Cantwell, who pushed Maeda over on the touchline during normal time, and then instituted a pushing and shoving match with Callum McGregor after the final whistle. Not quite sure why he gets away scot-free with no yellows, no reds. He gave Maeda a very good big push on the touchline in the added time period, and then, as I said, instituted a pushing and shoving match, which rather spoiled the last wee bit, because it did look like Clement and Rodgers had a nice friendly handshake. It looked like most of the Celtic and Rangers players were having a nice friendly handshake. And it was very disappointing that Todd Cantwell decided, a wee bit similar to El Hadji Diouf, that he should start a fight post-match. However, maybe the SFA will take some form of review of that incident after the match, or more likely they won't. I think that just about finishes things off for today. Hopefully not too rambly. I most likely will do another video just quickly reviewing the Celtic Rangers match, just when I've had a wee bit more time to think about things, digest things, look at a few more internet sites, YouTube sites, and digest the football comments on TV as well. And also through the week, we'll be updating on any other Celtic news, how well our players are training and recovering from injury, getting back to match fitness, and also we transfer rumours of players that Celtic are said to be looking at or not looking at, and anything else that crops up through the week. So just a wee final reminder, if you've enjoyed today's video, please do click the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Do click the like button if you've liked the video, and do pop your pleasant, polite, respectful, constructive, informative comments in the comment section, and then we can have a nice wee debate among Celtic fans and football fans in general. So for today, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, goodbye, and hail, hail.